Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we are in the shop today, and today we'll be taking the motor out of the Corvette. And as you guys can see, the shop is kind of a mess. Well, we're going to make it a little bit more of a mess. And you will see that I have been hard working on this. We've gotten everything disconnected. You know, the steering column, the heads are gone, the headers are out, starters out, pretty much everything. Motor mounts have been disconnected. The bell housing bolts are all out. The only thing I still have to do is get this AC compressor bracket or the compressor itself off. I'm just not sure how that's exactly going to work out, but basically what I've read, I actually posted in one of the Facebook groups to kind of get an opinion on this. And what I read was a lot of people just lower the subframe down a little bit. You know, it's like the last thread on those bolts that hold the subframe up. Lower the subframe down a couple inches. Take the bolts out of the side of the block off, and that should allow you to pull the AC compressor itself off. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the bracket as well, but honestly, if it just came straight up, there wouldn't be that much of an issue there. So, like I said, everything's pretty much good to go. The only thing I really need to do is kind of put a bungee cord around the power steering pump, throw that kind of up there in that corner, and other than that is just getting our crane and everything set up over here, making sure we've got enough room. And the big question mark that I have on this whole thing is, are we gonna be able to save the crank scraper as well as the baffle on the from Improved Racing? I bought those several years ago. Actually, I think I put that in my old house, if that's correct. Yeah, I think I did it in my old shop. That was like 8 years ago when we did that. And yeah, if that stuff's able to be saved, I do want to reuse it. I know that Improved Racing actually discontinued their C6 stuff. It's a little weird. I think they only sell the baffle now. I don't think they sell this crank scraper anymore. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But for the wet sump cars, yeah, like they've changed their design. So I don't know. We'll just have to see if that's savable. If not, we'll have to buy their latest and greatest and go from there. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this engine out, hopefully. And just a little bit more background. It's been almost 20 years since the last time I pulled a motor. I'll show you a picture here. This picture is from like the winter of 2006, 2005, something like that. I'm not sure what exact year it was, but I'm pulling a quad 4 out of a Beretta GTZ because I blew that up at the drag strip. So I'll try to get you a date on the video, but yeah, so it's been a long time since I've actually had to pull a full motor. And thankfully this Corvette has been coming apart pretty easily. I haven't really ran into any major issues. Just a lot of stuff you have to get off the car before you can get to it. And you can't really see it here, but I've got a pile of parts underneath this box, pile of parts here, the supercharger. So yeah, just a lot of stuff kind of everywhere. So, all right guys, as you guys can see, we have the hoist here, but you might notice a problem here. The 1-ton hoist is too short. I've seen people use this hoist before, but honestly, I think everyone that's trying to remove the engine from the side, I think they're using the 2-ton. I think the 1-ton is just perfect. If you take the bumper off and take the hood off and go from the front, it is about 44 inches from the end of the bumper to the middle of the lift plate. So you would be good there, but guys, I do not want to tear this car apart because A, I don't have the room. I have nowhere to put these cabinets, and honestly, I wouldn't be able to fit the hoist back in there, take the hood off, take the bumper off. I have no place to store it. And honestly, I'm terrible with panel alignment. And I paid a lot of money for this stuff to be fit and finished the first time. So I don't want to take that stuff off. So we obviously have an issue here. And that issue is that we are approximately 12 inches short. So I've seen some suggestions out there that, hey, just go ahead and go get a longer boom. Well, I was going to do that, but unfortunately, I didn't discover this issue until today. Today is Saturday, and none of the metal places around here are open until Monday, and you know, with work and everything, it's hard for me to get up to the metal supply place. So, trying not to ruin my whole weekend, I did spend 30 minutes each way driving to go get this piece. What I did was, I picked up a truck hitch extension, and it is 18 inches in length. So, if you guys can see down here, this is I think it's a 5,000 pound, 3 to 5,000 pound 12-inch hitch extension, but the overall length is 18 inches. And what we're going to do, basically we're going to take that bolt out, from the back, we're going to slot this hole down. You know, we'll cut that downwards. And what I'm planning on doing is actually putting this end of the hitch receiver into this it's either 2.5, 2.25, something like that, 2x2 metal boom. We're gonna put that extension on there, and then we're gonna get another 12 to 15 inches, something like that. So I know that sounds kind of ghetto, but you know, like I said, I went to Harbor Freight. This was 20 bucks, and I obviously wasn't gonna tear this thing apart, put it back in the box. I already threw the box out. And so yeah, this is mine. You know, there's no if, and, or buts about that. So, and also the boom legs are way going that way. They're way longer than the boom itself. So I know people would be concerned about counterbalance issues, but honestly guys, this is a bare block. You know, there's nothing on, there's no heads or anything. And so I'm not really worried about the weight issue. If I wanted to, I could put some heavy weights over here. Actually, I'll just put a tire or something on there, and that would counterbalance it a little bit. But I know that is something to be concerned about. But like I said, I'm only extending it, I don't know, about a foot. So yeah, long story short, if you want to remove the engine from the side, go ahead and get yourself the 2-ton, because the boom is longer. This boom goes out to 44 inches. The 2-ton starts at 41 inches and I think goes to 64. So a little bit longer. But I saw you know, the weird thing about that is, guys, the arm lengths, I just checked the store. I checked the 1-ton versus the 2-ton. The legs on the bottom are the same exact length. So assuming everything is built the same, using a little bit longer boom on the 1-ton, I think we should be fine. So, and like I said, this is an aluminum block. It's just the bare block. There's nothing else to be on it. All right, guys, not my finest work, I'll be honest, but as you guys can see, this is a perfect example of what I did. You can see I just moved the hole down 1/2 inch. I did the same thing over here. I moved it down to the bottom of the flange, and so that's that 2x2 fitting inside the boom from Harbor Freight onto the hitch extender. This is the same hardware that they gave us, the clip. You will see that I did have to notch out the bottom. It's the same notch as right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but yeah, I did notch that. I notched the bottom just like this. And honestly, guys, it was the fastest way to notch that was actually with a Dremel. I drilled 2 holes, and then I basically just ground down the spot that was in between it. But I have tried to pick up the motor. Everything was lifting up with no issue. I am a little bit concerned about counterweight on the back here. I think I'm going to put a wheel or something that's heavy, and just so that we, you know, we've got some weight back here. And yeah. guys, well, I am a complete sweaty mess, but as you guys just saw, the engine is no longer in the car. So for the first time in the 17 years that I've owned this car, it doesn't have an engine in it. Now you guys will see, I did drop down the suspension. Don't worry about the brakes. They're not hanging there. They are sitting on blocks. But the only two casualties that I kind of had, one, the transmission line popped off the cooler. The E-clip is still there. I think I'll just be able to pop that back in, put the E-clip back on, and that should be good. But as you guys might remember in previous projects, we are going to be doing a full C701 cooler upgrade on this thing. So the oil cooler and the transmission cooler will actually be getting deleted from the radiator. So, you know, if I pop that line off, no bigger deal. We'll just loop it back. And honestly, guys, I actually plan on deleting the oil cooler because, as you guys know, the motor let go. I don't want any of that oil coming from that system back through the radiator, through the hoses, and back potentially into the motor. So I'm just going to deadhead that system. I'll remove all the cables and wires for that. And so yeah, kind of two lessons learned from this. One, disconnect your transmission cooler lines. I didn't want to open up the system, but it is what it is. It opened up itself anyway. And the second lesson being, when we put the motor back in the car, I will not include the air compressor bracket, the AC compressor bracket. I'll just install that like I did previously. And the third is going to be, I'm actually going to pull the fan because the harmonic balancer was kind of hitting that fan assembly. So I think just those three things, you know, the trans cooler line, remove that bracket, and remove the fan, and this should swap right back in. I may leave the harmonic balancer off. I have to install the hub because I have to drill the new crank. But you know, I may leave the big outer shell off. I just don't know. But you know, so yeah. So if we go over here, the motor is on the ground. Everything's good to go. We didn't screw, as far as I can tell, we didn't screw anything up. So, oh, and the other thing was our extension worked without issue. I didn't see any issues here. There's no buckling. You know, this thing worked like a charm. And yeah, so our little $20 extension worked just fine. We didn't hit the hood or anything, and we didn't crack a fender. That was my biggest worry. I was kind of afraid that that thing was going to fail. You know, the motor land on the fuse box, the motor land on the fender, something horrible like that, but thankfully nothing like that happened. So, and one more thing before we go, you guys may have noticed I do have a tire wheel bolted to the back of the engine stand. I put that on there just because I was afraid about counterweight, and I mentioned it earlier in the video. So yeah, I did ratchet strap one of my ZR2 wheels on the back of the hoist. We had no issues with that because when I was messing with this last night, I noticed the back wheels the weight kind of got off the wheels. I just wanted that to be secure. So with that 120 pound of wheel and tire, that helped offset anything, you know, so that is something to consider if you guys are messing around with a engine hoist. And so yeah, that is gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos on this, we're gonna be doing a whole build series on the motor, well, assembly of the motor. You know, like you guys know, the bottom end's already built. I gotta choose a cam, I gotta wait on the head, so that all that's coming up. If you want to see that, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. And if you guys want to help support the channel, check out the links down below. I'll try to include some links to the hitch, the engine stand, and the engine hoist, and all the stuff that we did for that, as well as that LS bolt hardware kit I was just telling you about for the new engine stand, because you will need that. So, and also make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.